We are going to be breaking down how to manifest the everlasting commitment that you desire. Stay tuned.
Hey lovelies, welcome back to the Manifestation Sisters community. My name is Leah.
My name's Tia.
Here on this channel we are helping you to master your mind and manifest all of your desires. Myself or Tia have many services that we offer. We have our one-on-one coaching or we have our digital products. If you'd like to go to that next level, check out that links down below and let's jump into the video.
So you're in a place of manifesting your SP. They're coming in and you're getting movement with them, but essentially you want to manifest that everlasting commitment. You want to manifest that healthy, loving relationship where they're coming in, they're in your life, and you're essentially with that person. So what is the key to essentially you manifesting that desired reality? We will always say the foundation of you manifesting and sustaining the love and relationship that you want with your SP is down to the foundation of self-concept. But once you've been working on your self-concept and you're getting yourself to the place where you're like, you know what, I'm feeling like a bad bitch, and they're still not showing up the way that you want, there's an element and a shift that needs to also take place. And that is you being aware of the natural stories and assumptions that you have assigned to the SP in your movie. Your SP is then essentially showing up in accordance to the character of the assumptions and the stories that you have assigned them. There's sticky labels all over them. They don't show up, they're not consistent. That's up to you to change it. So when you are shifting your self-concept, but you're not sure of the stories that you have about them, so when it comes down to it, the way that you get the commitment that you want comes to you having the sustainable self-concept of shifting your stories and assumptions about yourself, but also having a favourable story about that person.
Yeah, it really is, because we've got all these sticky labels sometimes, and then SP's coming in and we're like, well, he's still not doing this and he's still not doing that, and he's, not saying the things that he used to say to me before, and rather than spiraling down, he's not doing this and he's not doing that and he's not doing this, you have to bring yourself back to thinking from the version of you in the relationship. If you had the preferable version of your SP showing up, the best version of him, you would be having different stories about him, and you'd be thinking like, I'm always experiencing the best version of my specific person that is loving, that is loyal, that is affectionate, that is always there for me, that's always coming towards me, and you'll be thinking like, I feel like this in the relationship, this is the best relationship of my life, like my SP treats me like this, our communication is like this. Like, imagine you telling a friend about how amazing your relationship is. That's how you want to be talking about your specific person. So if you're struggling with changing your stories about your specific person, really get clear on like, what role am I assigning him in my reality, and then start to shift those stories and those narratives about how you're seeing him, because I'm worthy, I'm good enough. Always bringing it back to self-concept as well, because you deserve this person to show up in his way because of you and your foundational self-concept.
Yeah, exactly. When I look at my relationship and what has been the key to really sustaining it over this period of time, it always comes back to self, but also the meaning and the story that I'm assigning him. So I'll be well in my story of like, I'm worthy, I'm enough, but I'm assuming a story about him of like, he's lazy, he's not doing things I want him to do, and then I'm wondering why I'm getting that reflection back in the 3D. There's an element of self that you have to be consciously aware of the sticky labels, like we say, that you're putting onto that person subconsciously and not realising that they're just playing out a role that you've assigned them in your movie. So I really dive into that because I like to share my examples with you guys as well as our clients. You guys know that I've recently moved house, and this is a new version and essentially a new up level in my relationship, because we used to live in an apartment, so there's more aspects that needed to be done in this house. In the moments of us moving and me essentially experiencing this new version of my reality, there was a moment where I was vibing and assuming a story of like things around the house weren't getting done quick enough. Us women, sometimes we just like, we need things done like yesterday, and that was like the version of me that I was living in. So I was like subconsciously not catching myself assuming a story of like, things aren't getting done in the house, that needs to be done, that needs to be done. And it was like half aspect of like overwhelming, because moving can be overwhelming sometimes, but also like this new version of me and my partner that we haven't yet experienced. in them moments, I actually had to catch myself. And I remember having a conversation with Leah of like, I've just fucking been playing the story subconsciously of like, that's not being done, this needs to be done. Instead of like, one, appreciating the fact that there was 20 other things that had been done around the house. My focus and my attention was hyper focused on the little things that like weren't being done, and I was assigning a meaning and a story to my partner of like, that's not being done quick enough, nothing's moving the way I want it to, when in fact that couldn't be further from the truth. So once I caught myself, I had to bring my conscious awareness to, yes, my self-concept's great, but there are areas in my life where I'm assigning that shitty story and assumption. Does that story and assumption align with the experience that I want, one, from my partner, and two, from this moving experience? No. So I had to shift that story and that narrative that I was assigning in my mind and start vibing with a new story, new assumptions, new sticky labels. Everything's getting done correctly. Things that I want are done in an instance. I don't even have to ask. He's so motivated, he's so attentive. Things around the house are flowing, they're being done so easily, quickly and effortlessly. Like, these are all conversations that I had to consciously shift so I wasn't subconsciously running with a narrative of what I don't want, that's not being done, and then wondering why I'm getting that reflection in my 3D.
Yep. And then what happened?
And then shit just was done. You would wake up, no, not even wake up, I think I'd finished work and like units were being built in the hallway, or like men had been hired to put up our dressing room, like all this shit has been shifted. But why I'm telling you this is because, and this links to you getting the commitment you want, it's because there's an element of you that has to take self accountability for the stories and the assumptions and the roles that you're assigning that person in your movie. And what that will look like is you having thoughts of, he's not calling me, he's not texting me, he's not coming forward like he used to, you don't take me out on dates, and you're just allowing yourself to think them thoughts without actually bringing your conscious awareness, like I always say, to the point of, does that thought align with, one, the version of that person that I want, and two, the life that I want to experience? And so often than not, if you're wanting commitment, which you are because you're watching this video, there's a high probability that you are essentially assuming stories that aren't favourable.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, it's a self-concept piece, knowing that anyone would want to be with you, putting yourself on a pedestal, and knowing that someone can easily commit to you. But it's also knowing, okay, how do I want this person to show up in my life? What is this relationship like? What is the commitment like? What's our communication like? How am I treated? How am I feeling? And really vibing with those stories, really vibing with those feelings, and then that person can show up differently for you, you know? So everyone is us pushed out, and as we start to assume better things about ourselves and other people and the roles we're assigning them, they can start to show up favourably and matching that new story and reflecting that, okay? Because we can't think that someone is not giving us what we want and then 1 minute, you know, think they are giving us what we want, and we're back and forth, and your mind's like, well, what is it you do want? So it's getting hyper focused on, no, this is the story now, this is how people show up for me, this is how I respond, this is who I am, this is what I identify with. I identify as the version of me that's always in a loving, committed relationship, that people are there for me, I'm being treated this way, and yeah, I deserve it. So, and that's what you want to keep bringing that focus to.
Completely. Claiming who you are, what you get to experience, the stories, the assumptions you're assigning internally. Being consciously aware of who you are being. Does that fit in with the life that you want to experience? So ask yourself at the end of this video, because we're drawing it to a close, of what have I been assuming about that person and how they show up in relation to me and the commitment and the love and relationship that I want. Do them assumptions match that which I want? And then that is the shift, that is the click that needs to take place, things to start shifting in your reality.
Yeah, because obviously as you're building your self-concept and you're feeling better about your self-concept, that's always the foundation. Then it's easier to hold a favourable story about this person as well, but then also we want to be mindful of the stories that we're playing about it. So I think, you know, the self-concept first and then also the story as well, they go hand in hand, and then it's like a simultaneous thing that you do.
I think as well, just to hone this thing, because I know we get this question a lot and it just popped up, self-concept is the thing that sustains the relationship.
Yes, exactly.
So like, you might be thinking of an element of like, it doesn't need to be confusing, of like, once you've built your self-concept, like we say to our clients, to a point of like a 7 or higher, then that's like the element of you assessing the stories, the assumptions that you have in relation to that person, because there's now a version of you that essentially knows, thinks and sustains that relationship. I don't really have to do my self-concept now in relation to my relationship, because I've built myself to the point where I just know I'm worthy of a great relationship. Yes. I know I'm important, I know I'm special. But so often than not, the clients come in and they don't have them natural assumptions about themselves, and they're not getting them reflections back in their 3D. It's a simultaneous process. Like we say, you build the house before you decorate the rooms. Your SP is the rooms. You are the foundation, you are the house. So they come hand in hand. They're not different aspects of manifestation. It's a simultaneous process that occurs.
Yeah, it is. And I think I love how you said that, because, you know, it's, you know, when you're sustaining it, you have a good sense of self. Like, you know you're worthy and you feel secured in yourself. Just sometimes things come up and you can start to go down the road of playing a limited story that's not going to serve
Things aren't getting done, and that doesn't mean I'm not worthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference there. Things aren't getting done, and they're not getting done because I've been playing that story in my head. And it's the same with commitment. You're not being committed to. You think you're important, you're special. Why is he not committing? It's because you're playing that story and assigning that role. Yeah. So they're like the two aspects, and they're two aspects that we always go through in our manifestation formula when we help our one-to-one clients, because it's about re-empowering yourself, reshifting yourself, so you experience the loving, everlasting relationship that you want, because you know, one, why wouldn't you? Because you're this great person, and two, you have the assumptions to match it.
Exactly. So we're gonna end the video here. Hopefully you've got lots of insights out of this video, and you can watch it again, because we did get some tips and tools on how to kind of shift your thinking and what you can do to change that story. And then, you know, if you want to work with myself or Tia one-on-one, or, you know, get our digital products that will help you really to maintain a good mental diet when it comes to whatever it is you're manifesting, the link is in the description box down below, and we'll see you in the next video.